You alright, Jimbers? You little sausage. It's on the floor again, it is, isn't it? It's down on the floor it is. So hello. Today I'd like to take a look at some more of my family photos that I found. Really interesting. That's my mum, and the little shit is me. And that was me when I grew up a bit more. I had fun with my mum. She was very well, she still is. She's 92 this year, but she was a very lovable lady when I was a kid, and I loved her very much, still do. And that's my dog Susie. Susie was a pedigree dog. She was called Chemcourt Balmoral Lady, if you want the posh part. And that's me with her, obviously, trying to. And that's me with my cat. His name was Sooty. I know it's not particularly politically correct, obviously, nowadays, but in those days it was the 1960s. And that's me, the Rugrat, with my cat. I used to love that cat to bits. It was so funny. It fought like a Trojan. It was always in battles. Half of its ears were missing. That's a lovely photo of my mum. In you know, as I say, it's probably 1960s. And that's Susie again. She was a very strange little creature, bless her. She would bite anything that moved. She would bite it. You know, she was very shy, very timid, and she just used to attack people and bite them, especially the postman. We had to put a grill up on the postman on the post box to stop her from biting. That's outside my uncle's house. That's with my dad with Susie. That tree eventually, my uncle's tree, grew to huge heights. It was a western red cedar. And it currently, and the house is still there, although it's been radically modified. It doesn't look anything like that now. The tree itself is like literally about sort of 40 meters high. It's an amazing thing. These are the cars my dad used to love. He bought Volvos, and I think that was the 144. I don't know where this is. I can't remember now. But that's me, and that's my mum, and we're obviously somewhere. You know, everyone got to be somewhere, isn't he? But that's the old Volvo 144, and that is my uncle taking a picture of my family. That's my grandma on my mum's side. That's my mum. That's my grandma on my dad's side. That's my dad, and that's his car. And obviously we're off going somewhere. I don't know. That's a Volvo 244, I think. By then my dad had gone up to 244. So, yeah, the progressive sort of thing. You know. That's me. I was very keen on football when I was a kid. I loved playing football. And I know where that is. That's in Shaftesbury in Dorset. And that's my grandma on my mum's side. That's my mum's mum. That's my mum. That's my dad's mum. And that's me, obviously, the little shit. And that's my dad's 244, I think, Volvo that he had. This is an interesting lady. Her name was Dolly Peel. Maybe I should start with a Peel family. My dad's family were called Peel, on his mum's side, and they were quite the family in actual fact. Typical tough Northerners, and well, they were from Newcastle, from South Shields, and Dolly was a smuggler. She's got quite a reputation in actual fact. She was a fishwife and a smuggler, and she looked just like my grandma, to be honest with you. When my grandma was really old, she looked just like her. And that's a statue of her in South Shields. She, as I say, she was a pirate. She was all sorts of things. So that's my dad and my mum, obviously below the statue of Dolly Peel that was erected by a chap called Reg Peel, who's obviously a family member. That's a portrait of Dolly Peel, which hangs in the South Shields Library. And she's my great something grandmother. And as I say, she was as tough as old boots. She once punched a policeman, knocked him off his feet. You know, totally lacking respect, obviously, for authority. But that was because her husband was being press ganged, and so she just thought, nah, you know, we're not having it. And anyway, tough Northerners, mate, innit? But that's my cat. Well, that was my family cat, Sam. He wasn't particularly. He was mine. He started off as mine, and then I gave him to my parents. That's Sammy Samuel. He was a lovely cat. Loved him to bits. That's my mum with a dog called Eeyore, and it used to sit like that. It was the funniest little creature. You've never seen anything like it. It was. It just was such a character. Eeyore was an English Bull Terrier, I think they're called, or British Bull Terrier. I can't remember the race of it. What are they called, mate? What are those dogs called again? He says, I don't know, Dad. He says, I'm sleeping, isn't he? But this was an absolute hilarious character, this dog. And this was the owner of the dog, who was a very, very lovely lady. Jane, her name was, Jane Forshaw. And she ran a B&B that we used to stay at, and that was Eeyore, as I say, that was her dog. And Jane, absolutely beautiful looking lady as well, ginger hair, lovely woman. As beautiful as she was inside as out, as it were. So that, I don't know, that's me with my mum and one of her famous salads that she used to make when we used to go to my uncle's a lot, because my uncle had a lovely house, as you can see by the kitchen, and we stayed around there, and that was my dad's. Oh, what a mistake that was. This Mercedes-Benz caused him more grief than his own heart failure that he used to suffer from. It just was a nightmare. He bought this darn car, and it was a treat to himself, and it just went wrong every single stuffing week. It went up the creek in it, and it wasn't that old either. It was pretty new, which was bizarre. But going back in time, here we are again. That's one of the earliest Volvos. I think that's the 144, the first one that he had actually. I can't see the number plate, but I think it was a light blue colour. Obviously these photos are black and white for obvious reasons. But there he is, the same car in Winchester. That's the Winchester Cathedral. And this big building, this structure, this edifice is the Wessex Hotel, where we used to go and stay for bargain break weekends, because my mum had shares in Trust House 40, which was the hotel chain. And she used to put her money to say in savings in the shares they had there, and that gave us sort of cheaper weekends away. You know, it was lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. So that's my dad out with one of his later Volvos, UCF 685S, I think it was, and that's the little dog Susie again that she features. And these last few photos are well, I know where that is. That's down in Suffolk. That's in Lavenham. By then my dad had this red Volvo, which was very nice, very, very posh sort of car. Lovely leather seats, I think it had inside it. But that's outside the hotel called the Swan at Lavenham, where again it was a Trust House 40 venture rather. That's me in the back with my mum, and that was her car. She had a convertible GTI Golf. It was lovely, really nice. And we used to go out and about in it with the roof down. I used to love being in the back of that. It was fantastic. You know. That's me with one of my 7 of my Capris. I at this point in time, this was a 1.6 GLS or GL, I think it was called. No, GL it was. 1.6, that one. That's my mum next to me. I think it is anyway. Yeah, it is. That's my mum. And well, there's my cat Samuel, Sammy Sam. I love that little cat. He was lovely. He's gone now. Obviously he's long gone. That's me, the ugliest little shit that you'd ever want to meet. I can tell you, a horrible little sod. But never mind. What can you do? That's my cat, Charlie. Charlie was amazing. Charlie was a warrior. Charlie was a really funny cat in actual fact. And last but not least, that's me with long hair and smoking. What a prick. But I used to smoke, and yeah, there you go. That was me when I was in my prime, as it were. You know? I don't even know where that is. Somewhere in the Devon coastline, probably. Is what it was, because I would have probably been surfing for sure. Anyway, there's Jimmy. Thanks ever so much for watching. I really appreciate it. All the very best. Cheers.